All right, Lee, mate. We are live. How are you doing, mate?
Not too bad yourself.
I'm good. I'm good. It's great to see you, dude. You've lost a bunch of weight since the last time I was speaking to you again, which is incredible. And that's why I wanted to get you on the podcast today, Liam, because we were just chatting a little bit off camera there, right? And I was saying you have certainly become inspired by maybe people you've worked with, like myself, or people you follow on social media. I see you sharing your story and your journey all the time. And now that you've generated this amazing progress for yourself, you're going to reciprocate that and hopefully inspire others. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to get you on for today. So before I get into it and talk about all the things I love to talk about, who are you? Where are you from? What's your story? Tell the viewers who you are.
I'm Liam. I've worked with Sam for two and a half years now, I think. Always been quite a big person, quite, well, top and bottom of it, pretty fat from secondary school. Always struggled with weight. Always been lost weight, put weight on, lost weight, put weight on. Tried every single diet you possibly can. I've done shamefully like booty, these coffee things, Slimming World, Weight Watchers, everything. Nothing really worked. Got down a few times here and there. Had personal trainers before, didn't really work. And then it was just got to the stage where I never wanted to be over 20 stone. That was my limit. I was never going to be it. And then one day I looked at the scales and I was 20 stone, 8 pound. And I thought, fuck. I nearly, even thinking about it sort of like makes us a bit emotional. I fucking hated being that weight. Hated how I looked. Everybody obviously tells you, oh, you're all right and all this sort of shit. That was a size double XL top. I was a 44-inch waist, still playing rugby. So that sort of, it was like, oh, well, I'm just big because I need to play rugby and all the rest of it, but I couldn't run the length of us. Couldn't even walk up a hill or even the stairs without feeling like sheer shit. But no, and then I knew I needed to make a change. My wife obviously loves us. However, I was like, big credit to her, but it was the case of I just kind of looked like this for her, for myself. And obviously at that point we were starting to try to have a baby and stuff like that. So I didn't want to be the old saying of a fat dad sort of thing. So I needed to make a change. And I'd seen, I think I posted you a video the day. I was in 2018, near the Christmas time. I was 20 stone, 8 pound, depressed, fed up, honestly, like just sick of it. I thought, I'm not just jumping in with anybody. So I spent probably a good 4 or 5 months. I thought, right, I'll get Christmas over and then I'll keep looking. I need to find somebody who I can relate to, who's roughly about the same age, and somebody that I know, somebody that I've seen results of. And I think it might have been Kieran Duncan. I've seen results of him.
Yeah.
And I started following you for a couple of months, seeing how you got on and stuff like that, see what the script was. And I didn't really know what an online coach was. Didn't really know how it went. So that's when I Instagrammed you first, just to see what script was, how we go about it and stuff like that.
Yeah. Was it 2018 we worked together, Liam? Was it 2019? The years are just rolling into one for me. I can't remember.
Yeah, I was having a look today because obviously I knew you'd asked us to do this. So I was at my I did a video of myself like turning around, doing the poses, sort of seeing what my body actually looked like, and that was December 2018. I didn't start working with you until the 20th of April 2019.
Yeah, mate, I've got a memory. I think I was in Florida at the time when we were working together, or I might have just come back.
Or roughly round about that, because I think I just started with you and then I think you'd went away.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I don't know if I'd done the right thing doing it whilst you were on holiday, but I thought, nah, I'll stick to it, see how I get on. At the end of the day, when we first started working, it was 100 quid. I thought, that's a night out. It's a night out. Let's just try it. 8 weeks, see what happens with it. And then thankfully it worked. The weight started to come down, started to see a few results here and there. So I was like, maybe this lad might actually know what he's doing. And we're seeming to get on well. I think this is maybe the second time we've actually spoke on the phone.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. So it just shows that I don't need to see you every day. I don't need to speak to you every day. And we can still get amazing results. Well, especially you can get amazing results from people.
No, I mean, honestly, I say this all the time. I'm terrible at taking compliments, by the way. A couple of my clients were saying this morning, oh, hey, Sam, you've really changed my life. You've helped us. And I don't know what it is. I just guess I never used to have that confidence. So I even feel a little bit weird now saying it when people give us compliments. But the way I honestly see it is I know I've got the blueprint, if you like. I see myself as an architecture, but I don't do the work, mate. Like, we've worked together multiple occasions, but you've made a lot of this progress. And when this podcast is posted, I'll put screenshots on the screen of your progress, right? You've done a lot of that yourself, mate. Like, disclaimer, you weren't working with me all of the time. But what I promised you is giving you the tools to be able to change your life, change your mindset. So let's go back a little bit. You've obviously mentioned that point, December 2018, right? That was the point of no return for you, yeah? What emotions were you feeling at that time in your life?
So it was just like, oh, this is just a regular. I was just sluggish all the time. If I was like walking to the bus stop, I was like, oh, everything was just a struggle. Like, even putting my shoes on at one point started to become a struggle. I'm like, nah, this is just a total joke. Like, I just couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. I was buying t-shirts that were like massive. I think at one point I bought an England rugby top, and it was 4XL, just so I could sort of hide my body.
Yeah. I mean, how did that make you feel, knowing that you are deliberately hiding your body and avoiding looking in the mirror and kind of just trying to kind of being in denial about it at that point? Because that sounds harsh about what I'm saying, but essentially people who are unhappy with their body, yet they don't do anything about it, they're all in denial. They're denying the facts, right? And I know why, because it's scary, and I'm not saying that it's easy. I get that, right? When you don't like your body, when the pictures inside your mind about how you want to look and how you wish your life was, when the reality is telling you something so different, that's depression. That's how disempowerment's formed. That's really feeling depressed about your life. Like, it's very hard to overcome that, right? But what do you think were some of the key changes for you, Liam, that got you to go, right, I am overwhelmed, I am depressed about my body, I'm unhappy. But what was the key factors that got you to just stop thinking about it and actually doing it?
I couldn't say there was like any specific key factors, but my main like motivation in my life, like father figure wise, is my granddad, and he's always been fit and healthy. Obviously, people from South Shields will know it, but like Marsden, Grotto, the steps up there. He used to run up them. Used to he could do it. He stopped playing football till he was 70. Got dementia at the minute, but I was like, I felt like, obviously I know he wouldn't, but he would be like so ashamed of like how I looked and everything like that. And it's just something you don't want. Like, every time I was going out, I was having something to eat, and it's kind of a face of like self-harming. Because you're not doing yourself any good. Yeah. And you're just eating, and then you feel shit for it, and then you eat some more because you feel shit. And it's just a total self-harming. It's such a cycle of, it's just, you just can't see a way out of it.
Yeah, you're right. And that's powerful for you to say, mate. And I got a little bit of shit on Instagram about, I want to say a month ago, when I put a post out saying that binge eating is a form of self-harm. And a lot of people attacked us. I got a few messages, emails, and all that sort of stuff, from people who are like, no, it's not. How dare you say that? You don't know how I feel, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know how you feel. And I get it that triggers some people. But if someone was abusing alcohol, abusing drugs, doing something to physically harm themselves, we would all say, if we've cared about that person, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. That's self-harm. Yet how can someone who's essentially, overeating, to where if you continued that, Liam, I'm going to be very honest with you, mate, that would have took years off your life.
Oh, easy, man.
If you have to accept that, and this really triggers people, but this is a fact. If you are morbidly obese, you're massively overweight, where it's impacting your health, your physical health, your mental health. Think of the amount of inflammation, the cortisol, the stress that is took over your body. That is killing you. That is literally killing you from the inside out. Every cell in your body is now contaminated with this inflammation and this cortisol. And especially if you're struggling with your mental health as well, that stress hormone that's being released day in, day out because your life isn't where you want it to be, that is literally taking years off you. So how can we not say it's not a form of self-harm? Of course it is.
you talk about stress though, mate. Like when I was my heaviest, if like anything would just trigger us, like if somebody had walked past us or I'd held the door open for somebody and they never said thank you. Oh, that was like the worst part of the day. I was annoyed at everything. I was raging. I was just everything. Now I've lost a bit. Now I've lost this weight. I don't even like lose. I still obviously lose my temper. You know what I mean? It's only human nature. But so like little things now is just like, so what? Who cares?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot more things in my life that I need to worry about or want to do instead of getting worried about some arsehole that can't even be polite.
Yeah, again, mate, I think you mentioned something before about your granddad, or you might be ashamed of us, and then you mentioned something before about, oh, I was getting angry all the time. Have you noticed that when we feel insecure or upset about where we are at in our life, we think that other people might be judging us, or we take our anger out on other people? That is just a form of our own insecurities trying to show us the truth. And we reflect that by getting angry, by thinking that people are judging us. You know what I mean? And that's generally not the case. Like, I guarantee your granddad wouldn't be judging you, right? But that was a form of you judging yourself, but not really admitting that at the time and having to kind of reflect that by saying, oh, they're going to judge us. In reality, that was because you were maybe ashamed of how you looked yourself. Like, and you had to realize that. And it's very hard to admit that. This is the revelation process that I go on about inside of my coaching programs. For the results to start, for you to have that transformation, not just physically, mentally, you have to accept responsibility. This is not blame. This is saying, you know what, I am unhappy. And if you recognize that your anger was higher when you were more overweight, it's got to be linked, right? When you weren't happy with your body, you're going to take that out on other people in the world. When you're not happy with your job or you're not happy with your relationship, you snap easier, right?
Yeah, definitely, mate. And even the case of like shame and stuff like that, I couldn't even like see when you used to go abroad and it was a hot day, you'd say walking down to the beach, I couldn't take my t-shirt off, mate. I had to have a vest on, and if I took my vest off and somebody seen us as like sort of hiding it, sort of covering your arms and everything, and you just, even if somebody's not laughing at you, you just constantly feel like people are laughing at you because the weight you're at, mate. I don't know if that's everybody, but that's how I felt, mate.
Yeah, I get that. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's some, nasty people out there who have said things to people, called them out on their appearance, or, just labeled them as, fat or whatever. Like, I would never call someone fat, like, to their face, right? That's not right. I'm not that kind of person. But really, if a person gets more offended about that, that's just a projection of their own personal insecurity, that really they are fat in their mind and they're not ready to admit that. That's harsh what I've just said. But we only get triggered by things that actually strike a chord inside of us. Yeah.
As you're saying, it is harsh, but I think everybody sometimes does need a bit of tough love. And I think that's what I was missing for a lot of years, because everybody was just like, don't worry about it. It's easy, comes off, and all the rest of it. My wife loves us. I was like, why do I need to lose weight? And it's only till you like sort of do it for yourself. And when we started working, I think when we started working, I think I either hadn't texted you or I hadn't followed the plan and maybe put a couple of pounds on that week, and you called us out, and it was like, when you got these like daft classes like Slimming World and places like that, you never get called out for putting a bit of weight on. It's just, oh, what are you going to do next week? But when you called us out as a bit of tough love, I hate letting people down anyway. Now, I think we might go into it later on, but I've let you down. Well, I feel like I've let you down a few times because we worked together.
You haven't.
Lost all the weight, and then I had to text you September 2020 and say I was so embarrassed. I think, but for some reason you text me about something, and then I was like, I've got to just come clean and sort of say to him, I've done it again, and I was back to 19 stone 13 pound after getting down to 15 pound 10.
Yeah, and
I was like, oh fuck, I'm just gonna. It's just the fact of like feel like I'm letting people down, mate, and I know I'm not. And
it's yourself, mate. Again, that insecurity is just a projection of what you feel. Humans have got a world-class defense mechanism in our brain to deflect responsibility, and that is just a form of, oh, I've let you down. You never let me down, mate. You just didn't stick to your own word. That's all it was. Yeah. And when I'm gonna have to say something else there when you said I called you out. I didn't call you out for gaining weight, mate. I called you out for not sticking to your promises that you were going to follow through. I'll never call someone out for that weight. Yeah. This weight loss, right, is a side effect of your actions. Yeah. Think about all the things you've done over the last, year, whatever it's been since 2020, where you've dropped all that weight, right? It's your actions that got you there. Yeah. The weight loss is a side effect of you changing your habits. But for that weight loss to stick and for you to transform your life, you had to have a mental transformation first, Liam. So what were some of the mental transformations that you had, that mindset shift where you were like, right, this is the way it's going to be and I'm not going to go back to my old habits? What happened for you to have that?
I think I started like following a few more like influential people on Instagram. I didn't follow like the so-called like arseholes on Instagram. I sort of followed like people that I wanted to look up to. I don't know if I think you've worked with him, but Paul Moore, I started following him.
Yeah.
And he talked about like daily habits. So my daily habit now is making sure I take my son for a walk. It benefits me like physically and it benefits us mentally as well, because that's the place I want to be. I want to be with my boy at all times. And it obviously helping us lose weight. And that's my daily habits now, is just get into that. And I constantly, like, when I'm just sitting alone or sitting and my either son's asleep or he's doing something, I'll just look at like old photos of like either if it's a full body photo or just even my face, and I'm just like, I physically won't let myself go back to that place now. It's constant. Like, I've got photos up in the house of like my wedding photos, best day of my life, but physically looking at it, I'm just like, that's not the right person.
Yeah. I guess that's form of like a habit trigger. Like one massive, implement, like a technique that I implement with my coaching clients to remind them of how well they have done is obviously the weekly check-ins. What do you remember the weekly check-ins that we go through every single week? What's the first question I ask you? What's some of your wins this week? For you to build confidence and actually stay on track, your brain has to see proof. So many people that don't do the right things, that don't give themselves a daily routine, that don't either take photos or they don't get a coach, they try and do it on their own. And if you're not seeing proof that your actions are working, you're going to quit. It's normal. Yeah. It's normal. So even though you're obviously going off on your own now, you're smashing it, you're implementing all the techniques that I've taught you over the years, and you're still making progress, you've still got those habits ingrained, like you mentioned, obviously Paul Moore before, the daily habit stuff. Like when I work with emotional eaters now to help them transform their mindset and stop binge eating and stop emotional eating, whatever you want to call it, I tell them all of the time, you don't have a problem with food. You have a problem with your emotions and your emotional response. You're feeling emotions that you don't like, and you're using food to paint over the cracks. It's not a food problem, because if it was, mate, you would still have a problem with food, but now you don't. So what parts of your emotional response did you change? It was just replacing habits of turning to food for comfort with other things, like taking your boy out, like being organized with your day, like asking yourself, well, what parts of my life am I not happy with? And I'm gonna solve those. Yeah. So what other areas have you worked on, Liam, to basically have those needs met that you felt food was filling the void?
There's quite a lot of like different like little things. I've now started like tracking food as well. So even if I am going to eat shit, I know how many calories I'm eating of it. Everything gets tracked now. I've still not got into the habit of journaling. I know you're a big fan of it and everything like that, but I've still just, my morning's very straight away. I need to be on it. I need to do things for my boy, get him his breakfast, then give him everything like that. So journaling's not been into it yet. I do want to get into it. But even like as you were saying before, like the things of like get 3 things that you want to do for the day. Even if I'm not writing them down, I've still got them in my head.
Yeah.
Like I've been cycling to work instead of getting a bus. Daily walk, meeting 10,000 steps is nothing.
Yeah.
To me now, I think every day I'm near enough hitting 30,000 steps because I'm so productive and everything like that. And just keeping busy, basically. I hate, my missus probably goes off a nut because I can't sit still. She doesn't mind it when I do the dishes and washing and up and everything like that, and she doesn't mind that, but I just can't sit still now, mate. I just need to keep going, and I think that's helped us as well, because I'm not sitting there thinking about, oh, what am I going to have for my tea? I just know that I need to go and get something quickly, and that's it.
Yeah, incredible, mate. Like I say, you haven't just changed one big habit. Like I think a lot of people, let's say the position you were in 2018, depressed with your body, overwhelmed, finally plucked up the courage to kind of look at yourself in the mirror or take some photos and say, God, I need to change. Like when you're at that point, it feels like you're at the bottom of Mount Everest with no idea how to climb up, right? Yeah. And I think a lot of people that procrastinate on changing their life, on changing their mental health, on starting that program, on joining my program, whatever it is, the thing that they said they were going to do, they procrastinate on it because they don't break it down into small bite-sized chunks. Like if you said to yourself in 2018, I need to lose 7 stone, that would have overwhelmed you and you wouldn't have started. Whereas if you went, you know what, I'm just going to join Sam's program. And then after that, right, I'm just going to start working on my mindset. And after that, right, I'm going to start unfollowing other people on social media that don't serve me, that I compare myself to. And right, I'm going to start hitting 10,000 steps a day. I'm going to cycle to work. It's a process, right? And people procrastinate on their goals because basically they create more pain for themselves. Like, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. Oh, I can't do it, I'm not good enough. And they talk themselves out of it. Meanwhile, by default, they stay absolutely miserable. And because they're miserable, what happens? Turn to more food for comfort. Yeah,
definitely. And I think as well, like having a supportive network, mate. Like my wife, she always says, "You don't need to lose weight. You don't need to do this. You just." She knows however I am, and obviously that's most partners. But she literally like supports us every possible way she can. She helps us. She like, if I need to go to the gym in the morning, she says, "Go ahead, just do it." She never like hums and haws about anything, mate. And obviously I play rugby and all the boys there, supportive as hell as well. They're always saying, "Christ, you've lost a load of weight. Christ, well done," and all the rest of it. So I think having a good support bubble and obviously family as well, mate, they're all always making sure that I'm doing well and everything like that. So I think you need to make sure that you've got a good support bubble around you as well, mate. And I know you've spoke about that before as well.
Can you see that? Right there. Hang on, I'll get the photo up. Just so people who are watching live can see. That's them photos you sent me this morning, mate. You see that? Is the camera letting it come in?
Nah, not really, no.
I'll get them up on the screen, but it's an incredible transformation. Yeah, it's an incredible transformation. But again, mate, you've hit the nail on the head. Like, you've got to have the support. You've got to have the network. Got to have accountability. What was it like trying to do this on your own, mate?
When I was before I ever met you, do you mean?
Yeah, like before you started your transition, just trying to do the regular stuff that everyone tries. You know what I mean? Like not really trying the best.
Like I say, I've done it all. You know what I mean? Like if anybody ever wants to like message me, like personally or anything, I can tell you literally I've done everything. I've done like your booty, fasting, all the rest of it, mate. Slimming World, Weight Watchers, and just nothing was willing to stick, mate. I just see with like Slimming World and like tracking points or Weight Watchers tracking points and everything. I can't be arsed with it. I just can't be arsed with it. And now I literally like every single meal, I scan the barcodes, I get everything onto MyFitnessPal. And it's just the sheer like mind switch that I know, like, see when I first started and you started asking us like, how do you feel and shit like that? I'm like, what does it mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like shit because I'm fat as hell. That's how I felt anyway. And I'm like, you try to get into like, when we first started working, obviously we lost, I think just over or just shy of 5 stone. But even at that, mate, that was, and you probably don't even know this, but that was a lot of cheating on that one, mate, because I knew that I'd ate shit all week, and I thought, shit, I've got to weigh in 2 days' time. So honestly, mate, some of the extremes I went to make sure that I'd lost weight that week was like having a hot bath the night before, making sure I hadn't ate anything or drank anything for like 24 hours, and then that surely set the stone of it. Just didn't work, mate. I lost the weight with you at this first, but I just wasn't invested in it, mate. Yeah. The first time we worked with each other, because I was just like, well, I'll just do it and I'll lose the weight. But then I piled it straight back on because I never stuck to anything. I never really, because obviously when we first worked together, there was no phone, was there? It was just the case of like text messages, really. So I was just like, just send them boring, shitty message, send them my weight, send them the scale weight, send them pictures, and that was it. Don't really tell them. I was like, don't tell them exactly what you've done. Sort of just lie to them. And I know that's not right. Like, if anybody is watching, like, don't lie to Sam. Like he'll help.
I know why you're lying, mate. I know why people are lying. I don't have mug written across my forehead. I have Chicago Bulls. But I know the crap, mate.
As I say, I like literally, some of the extremes, mate. Like, make sure I went for a haircut the night before. Just little daft things that I was like, this will work. I'll just lose a couple of extra pound, and then the scales won't lie and everything like that. But never took any of it in. And then the second time, I was like, I need to invest like heavily into this. I needed to make it like a drug sort of thing. I needed to, every day I was on it, made sure I was like sticking to it and everything. And then this time, I think we only lost, I think about 3 stone we'd lost together.
But you gained a bunch of new habits. That's the thing.
Yeah, I think we lost 3 stone, and I was like, I can't keep going in this vicious cycle of losing weight, feeling great, and then adding weight on, and then letting Sam down, and then going straight back to him. I was like, I need to not stop paying you the money, mate, because I'm sure there'll be a time when I get my shit together and we'll start working again together and we'll get new goals and everything like that. But I was like, I'm just paying you like 200 quid every time I feel shit, basically. And I'm like, what's the point of it? You know what I mean? You're just vicious cycle. I'm not doing my body any help. My mindset is all over the place. I feel like shit. I'm up, I'm down, and it just wasn't good for me or my family.
Yeah, this is the harsh reality. Like, you've been through a transition yourself, mate, but I have also been through a transition as a coach. Back in 2018, 19, when we first originally met and we worked together, back then I was just a guy I was a PT by day, right? And I had this online coaching program where I help people like yourself lose weight. But as the more and more I've done that, I started to see that common theme, just like you said. I knew as a coach, I could help people lose weight. I taught them how to eat. I taught them how to track the macros. I taught them what they needed to do to get results. Yeah, fantastic. But the same people like yourself kept coming back a few months later. Sam, I've lost my progress. And that got me thinking, yeah, I'm too creative to not recognize things like that and go, hang on, there's a problem here. So back end of 2019, transitioning into 2020, like the lockdown, that was one of the best things that ever happened for me, because, and I hate saying that because it was a horrible time, but it forced me to look at my business because I couldn't PT anymore. And I was like, right, what are the common themes that I've noticed? People can lose weight easily, but they can't stick to it. What's missing in my coaching that's stopping that from happening? And I thought it's the mindset stuff. I'd been working on my mindset myself, but I hadn't been implementing it with my clients. And the moment that I started saying, listen, fat loss is quite easy. Let's put the attention on the mindset. That's when results started going like that. That's when I upgraded myself as a coach, because I knew what worked. I wasn't implementing it. Do you know why? Because like you said before, why is he asking us how I feel? Why is he asking this? People like yourself would think it was a load of hippie bullshit, just like I used to think years ago about other people who talked about mindset. And this is what switches people off when they might follow me, they might email me, they might want to join my program. And the reason why, Liam, is because they felt exactly the same as you. They didn't want to change their mindset. They didn't want to look at the habits. They didn't want to look at the fact that they weren't doing what they said they were going to do. And I've had people who've left my program simply because I've revealed the truth to them. That the truth is, only you can do it. I can help you. I can support you. I can give you accountability. I can teach you how to overcome anxiety, work on your mental health, improve your confidence. I'll show you how to do that. I'm world class at it, right? But if you're not willing to do it, I can't force you. So you had a bit of resistance where you are doing the work, then you are going away thinking you could do it yourself, realizing you had to change your mindset, lost the progress. And it wasn't until you come back fully open arms and were like, right, I'm all yours, just transform us. And then that's when you started doing the work. That's when you started valuing the mindset. That's when you started valuing the daily routine and making your morning, getting organized. Like most people's problem, Liam, they're not organized with their life. They're not organized. They're all over the place. They're organized for work, but when they come in, they've got no idea what their tasks are, how to be on track, how to be organized, when they're meal prepping, when they're doing their exercise, when they're going to sleep, when they're looking after the kids. It's just pandemonium from the moment they open their eyes to the moment they go to sleep. And that's why they're emotionally eating. So when I transitioned my whole business to, right, fat loss is fantastic. I'll help you lose 2 stone over the next 8 to 12 weeks. I can do that with my eyes closed. But what I'm really good at now is getting people to transform their mindset. But I also accept that I can lead a horse to water, but I can't force it to drink it.
Yeah.
I couldn't force you to do it. I had to give you the tools and say, listen, I am here to help you. Here's the blueprint. I'm going to stand next to you with my clipboard and watch you build the building. You had to build the building, mate. I just oversaw everything. Okay, so I don't take credit for people's results, But what I do take credit for is giving people the tools to have that mental transformation where they can then go and create the results themselves. And you had to go through that.
Sorry, bud. I think the longer forms, see, when obviously me and you first started going with each other, and as you say, you were PT and it was the case of an online, it was the case of just a text. But when you
online PT doesn't work, mate, because there's no accountability, there's no work on mindset. The reason people can't get results is because they struggle with the mental health, like what you were. That's why you kept turning to food to make yourself feel better. If you can't establish that, you're not going to lose weight.
All right. And I think when, as I say, when we started working again together and we got the longer forms, don't get us wrong, at the start I was like, for fuck's sake, like, how long am I going to have to sit and do this form every week? But then it was like, I did it once. I was like, oh, it's not too bad. Actually, it just took a little bit of time, especially if you're thinking about it. I think people that, when you try to get people to journal, I think if you were journaling, as I say, I haven't got into that, mate. I'm going to try, but I haven't yet anyway. But I think if you were journaling, it would be so much easier, your form, because you're accountable every day and writing stuff down every day. So when I was doing the forms, it was like, and you asked me about like mental health.
These are mine, Liam. Yeah. These are the journals you get on mine. So there's a reason why. Yeah, because you're planning your day out. Yeah, everything's planned out. Everything. You know exactly what you're doing. All the questions in here allow you to ask yourself how. The first question, how do you want to feel today? Yeah. Second question, why did I choose that feeling? Yeah. Third question, what am I going to do to create that feeling? Fourth question, what am I most excited for today? What potential barrier could stop me from reaching my goals? How would I overcome that barrier? Who could stress me out and trigger me today? If you're aware of the things that could get you to fall off track, this is just strategic planning. That's all it is. So when I implemented the mindset stuff, the strategies, that's when the results of my program went like that. That's when people like yourself started breaking through barriers rather than just yo-yoing up and down. And that's why I got out of the PT game, Liam. Do you know why? Because I was unfulfilled, seeing people get great progress and then getting my heart broke when they came back and went, Sam, I've lost it all. Because even though that wasn't my fault, I felt responsible. So I had to level up my services. I had to level up my way of thinking because I felt responsible for you guys. It broke my heart to see people just falling off track. And I guess other PTs, if they're listening to this, that is the one part that people don't talk about in personal training. You don't teach people about mindset. You don't teach people about accountability. You don't teach people how to get results long term. It's all quick fixes. And you know what? That's fine because most people, that's all they care about. So all I was doing was just giving people what they asked me for. But when I realized that I wasn't fulfilling, I couldn't lie to myself anymore. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror and say, I'm just going to give this person results that they want. And I know deep down they're not going to stick to it when they finish. I couldn't live with myself anymore. So I changed my whole thing. I work with emotional leaders who want to transform their mindset. I work with people who want to actually improve their mental health for life, who want to go away. I guarantee you that if you work on my coaching program, I'll give you the tools to continue your results long term. That's why I've changed what I do. And that's why people like you exist, because I give you the tools to go and do it yourself. Whereas other personal trainers, like if you've been personal training someone for like years, that means that you haven't taught them what they need to do on their own. They have to rely on you. So when they leave, or let's say they get a financial difficulty, can't pay for PT anymore, they're going to lose that progress because they've relied on you to spoon feed them. That's what I was doing. I was spoon feeding you, right? I was doing everything for you. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. I didn't teach you how to do it on your own. Until I taught you how to do it on your own, you didn't keep your results. But once now you know, that makes me feel so much more fulfilled. It ain't about the fucking money for me. I could easily stayed in that game and made a lot of money PTing. Yeah, it's easy money. But it's not fulfilling for me. Not fulfilling whatsoever. What is fulfilling is having a conversation with you, how you transformed your life, how you went away and done it yourself, how you've implemented the strategies that I've taught you. I feel so fulfilled by that. Yeah, so that's what it's all about for me.
Definitely, mate. I've only worked with a PT once, mate, and it was a bit of like a bad, and I sort of just got put off by it because he was basically just counting reps and just telling us what sort of exercises to do, mate. He didn't even ever give us a diet. He's out of the game now anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But maybe I just got a bad one out of the good bunch, mate. But it was
I guarantee you, mate, he probably wasn't bad. He was probably just, PTs are great. PTs are fantastic, right? They solve a problem. But I think a lot of people that don't realize that the problem they have is that they're emotional eaters, that they struggle with their mental health, that they turn to food for comfort, that they can't lose weight because they are not willing to change their habits. So it doesn't matter how much of a good PT you are. it's the synergies off, right? The PT just expects the person to get results and stick to it. They're just expecting it. The client, like yourself, is expecting the PT to transform their life. So the synergies off. Yeah, the expectations are unclear. People hire PTs thinking that this 8-week program is going to save their life. In reality, they've never changed anything about their mindset. They just followed a script. Eat this, do that, and then once it's done, it's done. Whereas I'll go, right, I can give you all of that, but listen, what's going on? What areas of your life are you not happy with? What emotions do you struggle with? What emotions do you want to feel more of? What emotions do you want to feel less of? Okay, well, what habits and actions are happening in your life right now that's stopping those emotions from coming true? What actions and strategies are being created that's causing you to feel depressed, anxious, overwhelmed? Then we look at the lifestyle, we look at the jobs, the relationships, the mental health, the education. We teach people, we educate them on the side while giving them the support they need. And eventually, you've got the mindset to implement what I teach. That's the difference. That's the difference between coaching and just giving someone a plan. Giving someone a plan doesn't change lives. Yeah, you're living proof of that. But when we did that, it didn't work. When we did the other thing, it fucking worked, right?
Definitely, mate. Well, obviously, I think about 20 stone when I first met you, started following you, and now I'm 13 stone 10. So
yeah,
it goes to show, mate. And I don't think we've worked with each other now for about 6 months. But even like following you on Instagram and like watching your live Q&As in the morning, or like watching your reels, even if I don't get to your live one in the morning, mate, I still watch it back later on that day. And that's even just an accountability for me, that I've watched your stuff. And even if I'm not really paying attention or I'm not learning anything, something will stick out of it, mate. And I quite enjoy when I take my voice for a walk, put the podcast on, and yours, Paul Mort's, James Smith, all them sort of people is the ones I listen to, because even if I don't really like the guest or whatever is on some of them, something will stick out of it. And a lot of them are on mindset and everything like that, and a lot of them have stuck, and some of them have even hit like home truths as well, mate. That it's like when things haven't been going well, or when I have been overweight, I didn't think, even like when I was that heavy, I never really thought about mental health, mate. I was like, it's just fucking nonsense. It's just shite. There's nothing to do with mental health. And I think now looking back on it, I can sort of see about mental health and everything like that. Sort of feel a bit more about it now.
Yeah, I think people's physical bodies are just a representation of what's going on the inside.
Yeah,
that's what I believe. I truly believe that. What's going on the inside is so much more important, and that's why a lot of people, like at the start when I first started coaching, that's why you got resistance from the things I was trying to teach you, because you didn't want to accept that it was all on the inside. You wanted to accept that I'll follow this diet and I don't need that, Sam. Like, I've had people sign up with me, right? Not recently, because I've totally transformed my business, but maybe last year when I started transitioning, I had one dude sign up, right? And he was like, "Oh, I just want the diet. I don't want all this mindset stuff. I'm paying £200 for this." I was like, "No, you get all the mindset stuff as well. We'll get coaching. We'll go over your problems. We'll help you." "Oh, I don't want that. I just want the plan." It's like, well, okay, you're not going to get results then. I'll tell you what, I'll just refund you. I'll see you later. And I'm not willing to work with those people anymore, because I know they're going to come back to me. They're either going to blame me for their lack of results, or they're going to come back saying, "I fucked up, Sam, I need your help." That's not fulfilling. I'm not taking someone's money knowing that they're just going to have to come back eventually. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to do that. It's not what I want to stand for.
And I think that was with me at the start, mate. I was like, well, even if I do put the weight on, I can just go back to Sam. And now I'm like at the stage of like, I don't ever like for weight loss, like fat loss, I don't want to go back to you, mate. Like, I don't want to be like, "Oh, Sam, I've fucked up again. I've put all this weight back on."
You don't need it.
I know I won't. Nah. And that's, as you say, like, it's the little things, it's like mindset and everything that you've helped with, mate. As I say, if people do think when they sign up and they get the first feedback form or everything like that, and they think, "Oh, it's a load of shit," honestly, just stick to it. Give it 8 weeks. What's 8 weeks really in somebody's life? It's not even like 10% of your life. Just stick to it.
Yeah, it's a 12-week program now, Liam, because I feel like 8 weeks, people are still caught up in the right, it's only 8 weeks. Whereas now I'm like, listen, it's 90 days, it's 12 weeks. You get a curriculum alongside it where I teach you how to stop emotionally eating, and you actually understand how to respond to your negative emotions. What I guarantee people in my coaching program is a physical transformation, but before that is a mental transformation. The mental transformation occurs, then the physical transformation happens. So I only want to work with people who are willing to have a mental transformation first. Then the results that they get, they'll keep for life. If you get a physical transformation without a mental one, you will end up back to where you started and then some. This is why yo-yo dieting is so big. This is why people lose weight, gain it all back. Lose weight, gain it all back. They don't change their mindset. They, in fact, refuse to work on it. Why? Because it forces you to take responsibility. The reason that you got resistance at the start, Liam, is because you didn't want to hear that, right? You didn't want to hear it.
No.
But that was the thing that was keeping you stuck, right? And once you opened your mind and you are willing to listen to it, you actually got everything you needed from a PT, from a coach, and now you're able to do it yourself. And that is the promise that I tell people on my coaching program. Just hear us out. Just be willing to open your mind. What got you here will not get you there. So it doesn't make sense to follow a program or join a program or work with someone and then say, oh, I'm not going to follow that. I've genuinely had people before who have said, this is what's going to get you the results. Oh, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, why are you here? Do you want a result or not? I get why you're resisting right now, but I can't lie to you. I'd rather give someone that money back and say, see you later, because I'm not willing to bullshit them. I'm not willing to bullshit them. I can't do it. It goes against my code of ethics. Yeah.
No.
It's all about that mindset shift, you know. And again, think about some of the reasons why maybe you were turning to food, Liam. Like, what were those? Was it lack of fulfillment with your job? Was it just the fact that you knew you didn't like your body and eating more food kind of just distracted you from that? Like, what was the actual issue that you were turning to food for comfort? Like, people need to realize what theirs is. In order to have a mental transformation, you've got to become self-aware. So when did you become self-aware?
Self-aware, like, I think with the food-wise, I just thought, even though I'm a chef by trade, I just thought healthy food's just shite. It's just going to be chicken and like a salad. That's what I thought it was. Even though, as I say, I'm a chef and I can dibble my hand at most things, but I was like there's no better feeling than putting a burger and chips in your mouth, mate. And it is good. Like McDonald's, I can't deny that it is great, but
what it is, Liam, it's a pleasure. Yeah, food is a pleasure.
For the McDonald's and stuff like that, mate, you're only full for a matter of like 10, 20 minutes, and then you feel even shitter after it because you've ate that.
Yeah,
now, healthy food, you know what I mean? You can make anything really tasty with healthy food as long as you're not daft with it. And it was just a case of just trying new things, and then the diet plan helped. And now I don't really like restrict any foods, but I just put them all in my fitness pal and see what I'm at. As long as I hit my calories or just under and my protein goals, and that's about it for me now. I don't like none of this shit of like not hitting any carbohydrates or like not hitting any fats and all that, mate. I've done all my stuff like that at college. I know that I need everything that I need, and it's just a case of I just needed to change it, mate. It was just constantly a losing battle, mate. And I think when I did try like Slim and World Weight Watchers, they restrict you with so much food. You can't have this, you can't have that, or you've got to go and get all the like 60 quid worth of shopping for like 4 meals.
It causes more issues than it solves, Liam. That kind of way of dieting causes more issues. It actually creates emotional eaters because you avoid, let's say you're in this position where you're overweight, right? You've clearly had a habit of using food for pleasure. Like if you're overweight, that didn't just happen by an accident. You've overused food for a pleasure. Like that's fine, by the way. I like food as well for pleasure. I'd rather go and get a takeaway than go and have a pint or take some drugs. It's not what I want, right? I would prefer food over everything. Go out for food and coffee and a nice slice of cake. That's up my street. I love that. Yeah, food's a pleasure. So people have had an issue with relying on food for pleasure. So they are void of the thing that gave them pleasure by restricting themselves on these crazy fad diets. So what happens when you're at breaking point mentally? You just go fuck it and you just overeat everything that you've been void of. So restrictive diets create emotional eating disorders. And that's where Slimming World and Weight Watchers and Juice Plus and all these fad diets that your PTs will give you. Eat chicken, meal one, this and that, like that. And I've been there before. I'm guilty of giving people that. You know why? Because that's what they wanted. But when I reached the point when I was like, this is what they want, but it's not what they need, I stopped doing that and I focused on the mindset. Yeah, I've made those mistakes. So people can call me a hypocrite for saying, well, Sam, you did that to people. I did it unknowingly, and I realized what I was doing, that was having bigger effects on people because I paid attention to my clients. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think,
go on. Sorry, man.
I think what people realize, you mentioned about the mindset shift. This is what happened for you as well. You might not even realize this, Liam. Basically, you are addicted to instant gratification and you wanted results now, and you wouldn't act until you got results now. But that manifested in other areas of your life. When things weren't going so well, you were also addicted to the instant gratification with food. And it's not until you have the mindset shift to understand instant gratification actually keeps you stuck. Like, valuing pleasure is the main thing in your life, ruins your mental health.
Yeah.
Fulfillment and meaning and purpose has to be higher on your values list. Everyone lives by a set of values, you know this. And if you value and measure your quality of life based off the amount of pleasure you feel, whether that's with sex, gambling, money, instant gratification, drugs, food, attention from people, likes on social media, those are all metrics that you are measuring yourself by, linked to pleasure. But what goes up must come down. Yeah. Look at like cocaine for an example. People do that all the time. I used to do it all the time when I was younger. It feels fucking great when you do it, but the next day, oh my God, you feel like you're going to die. Seriously. It's so bad for you. It's not worth it almost, yet you'll do it the next week. It's the same with food. That takeaway feels amazing at the time, but the next day you feel back like a bag of shit, but then you'll do it again. Humans have to understand we have addictive personalities by nature. We value and prioritize what our highest value is. And if people are unaware that they are actually valuing pleasure, because they're in so much pain, like your brain's job's to get you out of pain and into pleasure. So people who value pleasure are using pleasure as an escape from reality, an escape that they don't like their body, an escape that they actually have emotions that scare the shit out of them and they don't want to deal with them. So they use pleasure to get away from that. But the pleasure causes long-term discomfort, right? So what you did is you give up pleasure and you started valuing purpose, identity. This is who I want to become. You are willing to sacrifice the short-term gratification for the delayed one. Here you are now, a year later, 7 stone down. Mental health, the best it's ever been. Physical health, the best it's ever been. Your relationship, the best it's ever been. Confidence, the best it's ever been. That gratification happened. It just happened in the delayed.
Yeah.
You're willing to delay your pleasure for gratification in the short term, for the long term. That's the secret to mental health. If you are willing to delay pleasure now for pleasure later by taking the necessary steps to delay gratification, you miss out on the up and down. You miss out on the high and then the crash. You miss out on the pleasure and then the pain. People are just flip-flopping between feeling so shit with their life that they constantly look for sources of pleasure, but that just keeps them stuck. And if you accept responsibility and say, right, I'm looking for quick fixes with my fat loss, with my food, with my alcohol, with my spending of my money, if you accept that your habits are all linked towards quick fixes and instant gratification, that's when you have the mindset shift. Maybe you didn't even realize that, but that's the mindset shift that you had, Liam. You stopped giving a fuck about the now and you started giving a fuck about your overall life and saying, you know what, if I want what I want, I'm going to have to be willing to give up short-term pleasures. That is probably the most biggest mindset shift people can have in their life. That goes for their bank account, that goes for their relationships. Like, you probably know yourself, mate. You've probably got friends who've just been in multiple relationships all the time. Soon as one relationship gets a little bit hard, they leave and they just find someone else and recreate the same relationship. Like, what's the common denominator, mate? It's not the relationship, it's them. They just go from relationship to relationship, job to job, constantly buying new things from PT to PT. Like, I had people who I was coaching in PT that were slagging off all the other PTs they work with in the local area. And I was like, well, hang on a second, you've just slagged off 10 PTs who I know. I'm going to be the next one. You're just going to go to the next one and slag me off. You're the common denominator here. Yeah, that was the catalyst that got me to leave PT, because I can't do this anymore. I'm not valuing myself enough. I'm not even giving this person what they need. It's just the synergy's off, right? And it's like the synergy with yourself is off as well when you value instant gratification, because there's a part of you deep down that knows this is not going to work. You just paint over the cracks with the next Just Eat order, with the next boohoo.com package, your latest clothes that you're going to wear on your next night out. Like, that's what people are doing with their life. That's what's ruining their mental health.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry for getting in front of my rant there, Liam.
And you're talking about the addictive person, that like addictive and stuff like that, man. I think addictive, like being addicted to something, gets quite a bad rap, man. Now, I can quite honestly say now I'm addicted.
Choose your addiction.
Yeah, I'm addicted to getting at least over 10,000 steps. Addicted to making sure that I put everything on my fitness pal. Is it maybe the right way of doing things? Probably not, but for me, I'd rather pick that addiction over going to the pub every night or going to the bookies every day and like splashing your cash elsewhere. I'd much rather like be addicted to just like healthy living, doing things that I want to do, and like I'm addicted to making sure that I take my son for a walk in the morning, getting my steps in, and everything like that. I mean, I think, as I say, I think addiction does get a bad rap sometimes, but I think if you're addicted to the right thing, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Well, I can see the flip side of that as well. Like, don't get me wrong, too much of a good thing can become a bad thing. Like, I get that when I've just said, oh, choose your addiction. Like, I would say if one thing that I'm guilty of is burying myself on my work. Why? Because I'm so fucking passionate about it. Because I know I can save people's lives, and I know I can connect to people who really need me, and I can team up with people just like yourself and give them this amazing transformation. And I also feel good about doing it as well. Like, of course, that's not just I'm not just doing it for you guys. I get something from it as well. I've got to be honest. I get something from it. I feel good. I feel like I've got a purpose. But I know that being addicted to that can cause other problems. You've got to have balance. But I know what you mean. I'd rather be addicted to something that's serving me than something that's not. I think all humans have addictive personalities. We honestly do. We're hardwired for that. Our brain is hardwired. It's why we've unlocked so much potential as a species, Liam. Like, look what we're doing right now. Like, all the technology and the things that we've done. 10,000 years ago, mate, we were living in friggin' mud huts, with saber-toothed tigers running around and all that shit. Like, we had to battle the elements. We had to survive. We had to create language and consciousness, and we invented fire and technology and cars and airplanes. Like, we are very, very intellectual species, yeah? But that came from the fact that we had this mindset that wouldn't fucking quit, and that also was a little bit addictive, that also kind of had higher level emotions. Like, do you realize that we are the only animals who can question our thoughts? We can go, why do I have that thought? Do you think dogs sit there and go, why do I feel like barking at that person today? They don't. They just do it. Humans are so fucking special. We don't even realize it. We've got this higher level consciousness, yeah? But that comes with a price. We'll have addictive personalities. We get emotions that fucking hurt us. This is why working on your mindset is so critical. Because if you don't have the ability to question your higher level of emotions, them emotions will control you rather than you controlling them. Yeah, so I get what you mean. But you got to pick your addictions. You got to accept, right, my brain, like, I need constant stimulation. I'm like you, need constant stimulation. But I know if I constantly stimulate myself with the wrong things, it's going to give me the wrong results. So I just stimulate myself with the right things, or what I perceive as right. Like, you've just got to give your brain what it needs. Accept that you're human. You're not perfect. If you sit there and ponder the universe every day and not take action, you'll just be miserable. Sometimes you just got to accept, right, I've got flaws. Yeah, I've got flaws. I'm a little bit negative sometimes. I've got emotions that I don't like. But hey, what makes me feel good? What makes me tick? What is my identity? What's my mission? And you've got a mission, yeah? Be the best version of yourself. Lead by example for your son. Be there for him. Teach him right. Yeah, be that example that, that maybe that that you can be deep down. Yeah.
I know when you ask me what's the change, like, when did you change your mindset and everything like that? And like you say, you probably won't know when you did, but I think for me, it was when my son come, mate, because obviously we'd worked together before he came.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when he was born and that, I was like constant party mode because we're in lockdown. So it was like, we'll just get some beers for the night and constantly just takeaways, because obviously when you have a kid, it is hard at the start. You can't be bothered to cook and everything like that. So it's constant takeaways and stuff. And then I looked at my body again and I was like, if I'm not going to do it, even if I'm not going to do it for myself, I need to do it for him. I'm not being like one of these dads that can't go and play football with my son when he's like 6 or 7. And I think that's like the long-term goal that you talk about. I know that I don't need to be like super fit and healthy right now, but as long as I'm fit and healthy when he's older, that I can take him and I can do like mad adventurous things with him. If he wants to like climb up a mountain or whatever, then I know when that time comes, then I will be able to do it.
Yeah. I mean, what things do you think, let's say if you didn't have this mental transformation and physical transformation, what things do you think you are missing out on in your life? Like, what things can you do now that you wouldn't never have the confidence to do if you are still overweight?
Like, even like the past couple of weeks, obviously, it's when we've had that occasional sunny day. Like, I can walk along. I still wouldn't walk along this like the normal street with my top off, mate, because it's just not my sort of scene. But if I'm walking along like a cycle path or anything like that, I can take my top off and people can walk past us now. And I'm not ashamed. All right, I've still got fluff and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Still got bits and bobs, but
it's how you feel.
I mean?
How you feel about yourself. Like
I'm
what I say is,
get my top off now.
yeah, like what my perception of that person's in shape will be totally different for another person. It's never about the weight. Like I try and drill this into my clients. There's a reason I ask you how you feel first, because I don't give a shit if you're losing weight. If you tell me I'm struggling with my mental health, Sam, that is what I focus on. We need to solve this problem. We need to understand. We need to see what your needs are. We need to understand how the universe can meet your needs, how reality needs to change for your needs to be met, for your mental health to improve. I understand human nature and I understand the brain and the psychology behind it, right? It's very important. And I think a lot of people will forget that. We just think that the universe has to match what we expect. And sometimes people get so bogged down with, how I look. They never ask themselves how they feel. So you could still, maybe in the future, you might gain a little bit of weight back because you get an injury or something. But if you still feel like, hey, I'm confident because your actions are backing that up, you are meeting your own standards, then it doesn't matter how you look. It's all about how you feel. If you feel your best, you'll look your best by default.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Like, yeah, as I say, it's just so much more confidence that you're programming. Obviously, me doing it by myself now, and I can see the results I'm getting by myself. But obviously, with the teaching of what you've given us, I feel proud of that as well. Like this, I don't need to now keep thinking, oh shit, now I might gain a bit of weight and then I'll need to go straight back to Sam. Like if I gain a bit of weight now, I know that I can just do it. Like I took a couple of weeks off there because we were going away on holiday and stuff like that. Gained quite a bit of weight and I've just gotten it off myself. You know what I mean? It's not the kind of like I'm in the battle of like, oh shit, I've put weight on. I'll have something to eat and I'll put more weight on. It's just a case of I'll just get back on it.
Then putting a bit of weight on, mate. Like,
yeah,
is it the end of the world? Is it the end of the world?
No.
But it can be the end of someone's personal world if they are constantly unhappy with their body. Like, I want you to go on holiday and do what you want to do. But then if you come back, you just go, you know what? That made me happy for that week. I've overate food. You know why? Because food is an amazing pleasure experience. But I've also got goals that I'm accountable to. I've also got standards that I live by. And I also value my health. Yeah. So once the enjoyment process is over, you don't have to make it mean anything more. You don't have to beat yourself up for going off track. You don't have to say, oh my God, I've lost all my progress and I'll never ever do it again. And then continue to binge. I mean, that doesn't make sense. How many times have you done that, Liam, in the past? I've done it as well, by the way. I fell off track with something, whether it be my eating or my job or whatever relationships I had at the time. And then we create a self-fulfilling prophecy of doom by going, oh, I've failed. What's the point? And then we'll just fail over and over again anyway, which means that we accept the very identity that is destroying our mental health. It does not make sense. However, in the moment, humans do that. Why? Because we're addicted to certainty. We're addicted to instant gratification. And if we can't get what we want now, we will quit and run. That is the way we were hardwired. We have to work on our mindset to kind of undo that programming. Yeah, it's called deprogramming. We've got to deprogram our brains because your brain's always conspiring against you. It'll get you to do the easiest thing. It'll get you to quit at the easiest opportunity because it cares about survival. It doesn't care about how you look. It doesn't really care about how you feel. So if we feel like we've failed, your brain will tell you to fail even more because that's the identity that it wants to create out of safety, out of protection. Yeah, and just not doing anything, staying in the house, eating Netflix, not pushing yourself, not eating Netflix, eating takeaways and watching Netflix. That's safety, right? That's a form of modern day safety. Okay. Back in the hunter-gatherer phase, that would have been right. Let's stay away from the animals outside that can kill us. Let's stay in the hut and protect ourselves. It's the same thing. But now people are using food and spending money on shopping and alcohol and not going out the house and Netflix and technology. We're using that to keep us safe, to run away from the danger. But really, the danger isn't outside in the world. The danger is in our own minds by not being true to ourselves, not listening to our emotions, running away from them. Negative emotions are literally feedback. I don't know if you've seen it on Instagram the other day. I posted like a quote that I made from on my Instagram page, and it was like, don't avoid negative emotions. They are there to tell you something. Like emotional avoidance, it's what's keeping people stuck with their mental health. Negative emotions are supposed to be there. Like if you're getting anxiety and you're feeling depressed, it's telling you something. Something has to change in your life for you to be happy. And if you're not willing to look at what that can be, you'll always be depressed. You'll always be anxious. I've struggled with anxiety and depression, suicidal thoughts. I've been there. I've had some terrible days in my life. In 2018, maybe it was a year before I worked with you, mate, I was gone, seriously gone. I didn't think I'd ever come back from it. The only thing that got me to change was realizing that I haven't been looking after myself. I haven't been honest with myself. I've been running away. That's why my mental health's been terrible. And it's been trying to remind me, listen, your mental health's the way it is because you're not being honest with yourself. You're not taking responsibility. And I know that scares people. I know people will click off this video. I know people will be muttering words in their head when they're listening to it back on Spotify and YouTube. Oh, Sam's a dick. How dare he says that? But the reality is that is the truth. That is the truth. Your mental health is there to guide you. Your emotions are there to guide you. Feedback to let you know what is going on. Please, anyone listening, even yourself, Liam, any negative emotion you get in the future, don't run away from it. Listen to it. It's there for a reason. It's guiding you. It's trying to tell you that something's not working. Doesn't mean blame yourself and it's your fault. It just means that this is the feedback that you're getting. Something's not working. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to listen. Why am I feeling depressed? Why am I feeling anxious? Why am I feeling like I'm not good enough? Why is my confidence rock bottom? Why have I got no self-worth? What has to change for me to feel better? And if that happens, your mental health will improve.
I'm not gonna lie, mate. I get them quite a lot of times, and I kind of like it, mate, because it gives us something to fight back against. If it's like,
yes,
it's just something to fight back against, mate. And it's obviously it is your brain trying to tell you, like, have a word with yourself, sort of thing. You've got, like, if it's you don't feel well or you're depressed or something, it's your brain trying to tell you that you are depressed, and it's giving you a bit of a kick. Well, that's how I feel anyway, mate. It's trying to give you a bit of a kick up the arse and say,
yeah, it's a big thing that people need to understand. This is not me saying it's your fault, it's all on you. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that, yeah, because mental illness is very real. Some people, they need treated. There's predisposed genetic conditions, yeah. But a lot of people are depressed because their life isn't matching up to what they thought it was going to be. Their relationship isn't working the way they thought it was. That job is not fulfilling. Yeah. For anyone watching this podcast right now, listen to a book called Lost Connection by Jonathan Hari. It is amazing. It explains the root causes of depression, and they are not what you think they are. Off the top of my head, when I listen to it, isolation, not being around a group of people who you love, like being out of a social loop, being isolated, lonely, not being fulfilled by your job is a big one. Having no autonomy over your actions, like being told what to do all the time, literally changes your brain chemistry, mate. There's circumstances in life that affects your brain chemistry that people aren't even aware of. So if you're getting depression, don't just say, oh, my brain's broken and it can't be fixed. Because does that make you feel better? Would that make you change your actions if you thought my brain's broken, there's nothing I can do? Like, you might be genuinely struggling with a chemical imbalance and you might need therapy, you might need medication. But if you just leave it at that, nothing else changes. You've got to look at what areas of your life you're not fulfilled with. Is it my body? Is it my physical energy? Am I not getting outdoors enough? What's my sleep like? What's my food like? What am I watching on social media? Am I comparing myself to people? Do I have a body that I like? How's my relationship? How's my job? Like, am I happy in these areas? Because that's what's getting you down. That's what's getting you down, you know? So if you're struggling with your mental health, ask yourself, what parts of your life are not meeting your expectations? Because all anger and frustration is caused by unmet expectations. Think about every time in your life when you got angry. You mentioned before someone not holding the door open for you. Your expectations were that they would hold the door open for you and they'd say thank you, or vice versa. And when they don't meet that expectations, you get angry. Every negative emotion that you've ever had has been caused by the stimulus of expectation, reality, void. That's where depression is created in the brain. People don't understand this because they're not willing to hear it. They'll hear what I say right now and they'll go, no, you're dismissing my feelings. You're saying it's my fault. I am not saying it's your fault. I'm saying you unknowingly didn't realize what was going on. Yeah, because feeling like you can't change anything about your life and you're broken and can't be fixed, that's what really ruins your mental health. Yeah. But looking at your own actions in your own life, zooming out and being willing to see the bigger picture, that's what changes your mental health.
Yeah.
Yeah. One final question for you, Liam, mate. We've said a lot of powerful stuff today. So if there's anyone who's listening to this podcast like live or who's watching it on the replay and who are thinking about committing, not just working with me, like it can be anyone. There's loads of great coaches out there. Yeah, it doesn't have to just be me. Thinking to commit to a program, to get some accountability, to get some help with their mental health, their emotional eating, their body. What do you think are some of the things that they might not be willing to do? Like, what resistance do you think they're going to get? Is it being willing to look at your mindset and seeing it for what it is? Do you think that's the main resistance, or do you think there's something deeper?
I think sometimes as well, like the whole persona of be a man about it, like mental health for like men. Like obviously, I can only speak as a man. I've never been in the situation of being a woman, obviously. But like this whole shite of man up, like obviously, I play rugby, mate, and we get it quite a lot, like man up and all the rest of it. No, that's pure shite, mate. Like if you feel down or if you feel bad, open up, and if you feel like obviously really bad, go to the doctors about it, mate. Anybody that is struggling, obviously there is help out there and everything like that. Samaritans, if it gets to that stage. But I've triggered it by just changing changing my ways, like not going straight away for the takeaway menu and everything like that, and going to you helped myself so much, mate.
Yeah, you've got to understand how to respond to your negative emotions, because you can't stop negative emotions. We've said before, that feedback, like, and you know what's going on, but you can change your response to them. So if you can learn to understand and look at your behaviors and say, right, when this happens in my life, this is when I feel depressed. When this happens, this is when I feel anxious. I'm starting to see a connection now, rather than just going, oh my God, I feel depressed and anxious. How can I run away from this feeling as fast as possible and turn into quick fixes to make yourself feel better? You miss out on the truth that's right in front of you. Like, the universe will keep smacking you in the face until you learn to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Or until you learn to fight back. Running away is not fighting back. And that doesn't mean you've got to take it all and burden yourself and blame and, oh, man up. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying be vulnerable. I'm saying accept that you're struggling with your mental health. Be willing to be vulnerable. Be willing to be helped. Be willing to implement the advice that you get, and just drop your ego, because what got you here will not get you there. Like, if you're genuinely struggling with your mental health right now, but you're also not willing to hear anyone's alternative views, you're not willing to hear anyone's opinions about your situation, you're not willing to be coached, you're not willing to change any habits. If you're just like, no, I'm not changing, that's the way it is. How the hell do you expect your mental health to change? It won't. You know, so if you want new results, we've got to participate in new habits. And you're the king of new habits, Liam, because I'm going to literally put your transformation on the screen when it gets posted, because it's incredible, mate. So yeah, that was a great journey, mate. We ended up ranting a little bit there, didn't we? But never mind. I'm sure people benefited from it either way. But like I say, disclaimer for people: this is not saying that your feelings and your emotions are invalid. I've never ever said that. I'm just saying learn to question it. That's all you have to do. Question why you're in this position. Question your emotions. Question, is this the way life really has to be for you? Because there's all this potential that's on the other side of the things that you fear. Your potential is hidden inside the fear, isn't it? You fear changing your body, changing your eating habits, joining a program. But once you did it, that's when potential was unlocked, right?
Yeah, massively, mate. And as I say, like, don't suffer with it yourself. Like, if you think that it is changing your body's going to help you, go and see somebody like yourself. Do your research. As I say, mate, there was obviously a load of online coaches. I never even knew what an online coach was, to be honest. And I saw some of the results, and I seen the help. I've known obviously Kieran Duncan for a while, and I seen some of the results you did with him, and I don't know if it was just before we worked together or after I would work with each other the first time, and I listened to his podcast, and I would have never known anything like that was going through his mind, and that would really hit home. And I was like, it was so powerful, mate. I think I've listened to that podcast about 20 plus times now, and it
that's why it's got 1,000 views. You've been watching it all the time. Yes, me think the podcast was popular, but it's just you watching it. Yeah, it was a great one, mate. But again,
change on it.
His journey was all mental. Everyone who's ever had amazing results, whether it be in their life, like someone else, or even related to me, like with my program, any walk of life, there's a mental transformation that's happened first. And I think people avoid the mental transformation because they don't want to look at the habits. They don't want to do that. They don't want to take responsibility. When I realized that it was down to me, I was more depressed than before I realized. I was more depressed because I knew that I couldn't run away from it anymore. And I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? It's been me all along. What the hell? But eventually I came around. Yeah, eventually it started working. You've got to reach that point of no return. Rock bottom is basically when you realize that you can't go any lower and it's on you to pick yourself back up. If you haven't realized that point yet, I'm sorry to say you're not at rock bottom. You've got a little bit more falling to do, I'm afraid. And that is necessary. You've got to trust the greater purpose that you will reach that point eventually and be ready to go. You've got to transform your mindset. If you don't, you'll not transform your body. You'll not transform your mental health.
Definitely, mate. And I know you don't take compliments and everything like that, but I think you need to start taking a few more compliments yourself, mate. Because I know you're close and everything like that, mate, but you have changed my life for the good, mate, and you've helped me numerous amount of ways that you would never even know about, mate. So hats off to you, mate, honestly.
Appreciate that, mate. And again, likewise, it's people like yourself, mate, that make me get up and do what I do in the morning. Like I've still struggled with, I'm not going to say mental health, I'm going to say emotional well-being, because I prefer that word, right? Because you have emotions that hurt sometimes and you've got to do a little bit of digging, a little bit of figuring out what's going on. Even times this year, the stress of running a business, I've got staff members, tax bills coming out, rent and this and that. It's hard. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's hard. I'm getting my violin out here, but never mind. But it gets you down sometimes. But it's people like yourself knowing that I've got a purpose that keeps me on track with my mission. Doesn't matter how I feel. I've got a mission, helping people like yourself, mate. Because I know it benefits you. So people like yourself have helped me more than you could ever know as well. So I appreciate that as well, mate.
That's quite a good way to end it as well, mate, to be honest.
It's wonderful, isn't it? So yeah, we'll do a catch up in a couple of months, mate, to see what progress you've made again. We'll get you back on and we'll cover from there. So yeah, that was Liam's amazing mindset and physical transformation. Hopefully that's inspired you to do the same as well.